The void was silent, stretching infinitely beyond the viewports of the observation deck. I had drifted through galaxies most civilizations never dared explore, cataloging, studying, and recording. As a member of the Interstellar Council's Exploration Corps, I was trained to maintain neutrality, to observe without interference. But nothing could have prepared me for humanity. They arrived quietly, initially dismissed as an unremarkable species by the Council. Their home system was tiny, a rocky planet circling a yellow star. Primitive as far as our metrics were concerned, barely past the spaceflight threshold, a handful of outposts in low orbit, no major technological footprint in the galactic registry. The other species laughed when my report came through. A fledgling race. Harmless. Let them fumble in their sandbox. I, however, was intrigued. There was something different about humans. An energy in the way they approached existence. An audaciousness that made my sensors hum with an undefinable resonance. I couldn't quantify it, couldn't reduce it to any parameter in our databases. And so I watched closely and quietly. The first conflict I observed began with a whisper of tension. Humanity had encountered a neighboring species, the Zyphar, a race of silicon-based beings who communicated in subsonic pulses. To the Council, the Zyphar were experienced, disciplined, and cunning. Humanity? They were novices in interstellar diplomacy, with only a single exploratory vessel equipped for first contact. The Council predicted a disaster. The Zyphar had already initiated a blockade around one of humanity's first interstellar outposts. Their signals were aggressive, demanding submission, insisting humanity cease all exploration beyond their star system. Observers across the galaxy placed bets. The outcome seemed certain. The humans would comply or die. But I was watching, and what I saw next defied all expectations. When the Zyphar demanded surrender, humanity's response was calm, measured, but unmistakably firm. They refused. They did not plead, nor did they threaten. They simply stated their intention to continue exploring, to continue expanding. They treated the Zyphar not as gods, not as masters, but as equals, or perhaps as obstacles to be navigated. Then the first human fleet entered the contested sector. 10 ships, rudimentary by Council standards, each no larger than a minor Zyphar patrol vessel. Sensors indicated that their weapons were primitive, lasers, projectile cannons, even a few kinetic disruptors. The Council's analysts predicted annihilation. And yet, as the confrontation began, something extraordinary unfolded. The humans moved with a combination of strategy and improvisation that the Council's algorithms could not predict. One ship feinted toward the Zyphar left flank, while another executed a sudden orbital drop, creating the illusion of reinforcements. The Zyphar, confident in their superior technology, were caught off guard. I watched their subspace communications scramble as the humans exploited every weakness, every lapse in their formations. One human captain, whose identification I later logged as Commander Halcyon, coordinated his ships through what appeared to be a blend of instinct and improvisation, decisions made faster than any artificial intelligence could calculate. Within hours, the Zyphar had suffered significant losses and were retreating. It was not brute force that secured their victory. It was audacity. It was imagination. It was the raw, unquantifiable drive to prevail against impossible odds. I documented every detail, my instruments capturing not only tactical maneuvers, but also the emotional intensity radiating from their command signals. The humans celebrated briefly but did not gloat. They began repairs, resupplied, and moved forward. The Zyphar blockade was lifted, but more astonishing was the lesson I recorded in my log. Do not underestimate humanity. Weeks turned into months. The humans did not stop. They expanded into contested regions, encountering hostile species, treacherous environments, and political minefields that would have paralyzed most interstellar civilizations. And yet, with each challenge they adapted. Every failure became a lesson. Every setback was a new strategy. During one engagement, the humans were ambushed in a dense nebula by the Vorax, a predatory species known for ambush warfare. The humans' flagship was surrounded, outnumbered 6-1. Sensors indicated panic among their crew. And then something remarkable. The humans activated decoy fleets, deployed autonomous drones, and orchestrated a series of controlled retreats that lured the Vorax into a trap. By the end of the skirmish, The humans had not only survived but captured the Vorix's forward command station. I began to sense a pattern. The humans were unpredictable. They were audacious. They were collaborative in ways our analytics could not fully model. They pooled intelligence across crews, across ships, across entire star systems, in a manner that seemed almost intuitive. And yet, they were not reckless. Their risk was calculated but always daring. They transformed adversity into advantage. Council meetings grew tense whenever my reports were read aloud. Other species, seasoned veterans of countless interstellar conflicts, expressed disbelief, anger, even fear. It's statistical impossibility, one counselor of the Andari sector claimed. They cannot succeed where others fail. Yet success followed them again and again, and the human influence grew. By the time I observed humanity's march into the Andari sector, a densely populated cluster of civilizations, it became evident why the universe feared them. They were no longer just explorers. They were a force that reshaped conflict itself. The Andari were renowned for their discipline and centuries of strategic dominance. The humans approached their territory not with terror, but with negotiation, yes, but also with readiness for combat. Every treaty was backed by an unspoken threat. The humans would fight if provoked. And when provoked, they did not falter. During the first confrontation, the Andari fleet engaged, expecting easy victory. The humans, fewer in number and technologically inferior, responded with a combination of unorthodox tactics, clever feints, and unexpected alliances with minor Andari factions dissatisfied with their leaders. Within days, the Andari had ceded control of several key systems. It was not merely military skill that awed me. It was resilience. The humans endured conditions that should have killed them. Radiation storms, subspace anomalies, and sabotage attempts. They emerged scarred but stronger, learning and adapting faster than any other species I had studied. I began to question my own objectivity. Was this evolution? Was it some unknown trait buried deep in their biology or culture? Or was it something simpler, something intangible? Courage, stubbornness, and an unyielding refusal to accept defeat? Months turned into years. Humanity spread across the Andari sector and beyond, not with brutality but with resolve. Entire civilizations began to whisper about them in hushed tones, not out of hatred but out of fear. Fear, yes, for what the humans represented. A species that could never be fully predicted, never fully contained, and never fully understood. Then came the decisive moment. A coalition of 6 advanced civilizations, some of the most powerful in the galaxy, banded together, intending to eliminate humanity once and for all. Fleet after fleet descended upon human-controlled space, confident that the numerical and technological advantage was insurmountable. I positioned my observation vessel at a safe distance, ready to witness the end of the human experiment. And yet, what I saw instead was extraordinary. The humans had prepared. They had studied every known civilization in the coalition, identified weaknesses, and coordinated strategies across thousands of ships, colonies, and supply lines. They did not fight as isolated units but as a single cohesive entity. The battle began in orbit around a contested world. The coalition expected chaos. They encountered orchestration. Entire fleets moved in synchrony, distracting, flanking, and outmaneuvering enemies. The humans leveraged environmental hazards, asteroid fields, magnetic storms, even the gravitational pull of nearby gas giants. Every disadvantage was a weapon. Every risk was a tactic. Hours became days, and still humanity pressed forward. Ships damaged beyond repair were salvaged, crew casualties mitigated through extraordinary coordination and ingenuity. The coalition, despite overwhelming numbers, faltered. And then, in a maneuver that would be studied by historians across species for centuries, the humans executed a simultaneous strike on multiple command hubs, crippling the coalition's ability to coordinate. The result was decisive. Humanity emerged victorious, having preserved almost all their own resources while forcing the coalition to retreat. I watched as the victorious human leaders did not celebrate with triumphalism. They treated their victory with pragmatism, turning their attention to rebuilding, negotiating peace, and preparing for future challenges. I recorded the final entry in my log with a sense of awe I had never felt before. Humanity was no anomaly. They were a force of nature, unpredictable, resilient, audacious, and intelligent. They did not merely participate in the universe, they reshaped it. When I returned to the council, my report was met with disbelief, fear, and admiration. My words could not fully convey what I had witnessed. I had observed something that could not be quantified, cannot be controlled, and might never be understood. The unyielding, unconquerable spirit of humanity. I realized then why the universe fears them. Not because of their technology or their fleets or even their intelligence, but because they refuse to be bound by expectation, refuse to be deterred by impossibility, and refuse to surrender to any force no matter how overwhelming. And as I drifted once more through the infinite void, I knew that wherever humanity went, the universe would never be the same again. Because some beings once unleashed change everything. And humanity was one of them. Script.